Hey guys. Okay, so last night when we left Ralph, he was trying to figure out a way to get down the steps because he really thought that Matt would just lift him down the steps. But Matt said, "Oh, you can't be independent if I have to lift you down the steps." And that's Ralph's major goal, to be independent from everybody else. So we're going to figure out today if he figures out a plan for getting down the steps. Ralph set about finding a solution to his problem. He looked at the ghostly rocking chairs and the cracked concrete porch, the steps, and the asphalt driveway below. Asphalt's that black stuff that they put over driveways a lot of times. Once Ralph had taken the trouble to look, the solution to getting his motorcycle down was surprisingly easy. About 3 inches below the porch on either side of the steps was a sloping section of concrete, a sort of ramp intended as an edge to the steps. The ramps were about 10 inches wide and each sloped down to a flat section. Below each flat section was a shrub that had been pruned, or kind of cut, into a somewhat lopsided ball of leaves. All Ralph had to do was ride his motorcycle down that ledge, down the slope, and into the shrub. Remember shrubs? We did shrub for something else. It's a kind of fancy word for bush. That would break his fall and let him slide gently through the leaves to the ground. The only problem was the terrifying 3-inch drop from the porch to the slanting concrete. But Ralph was sure that with a cool head and steady paws he could manage it. He would show that Matt a thing or two. Ralph wheeled his motorcycle back from the edge of the porch, but in line with one of the concrete ramps. High speed would be best, he decided. Speed fast enough to carry him over the edge without wobbling so that he would land on the ramp with both wheels. Ralph's heart was pounding as he mounted his motorcycle, but his head was cool and his paws were steady as he gripped the handlebars. Ralph drew in a deep breath. His paws tightened on the handle grips. He rode smoothly towards the edge of the porch. He held his breath as he shot out into space as he had planned. There was a sudden heart-shaking drop before the tires hit the ramp. At this point, everything went wrong. Before Ralph realized what was happening, the motorcycle shot down the ramp, which was worn smooth by so many children who had slid down it. Ralph flew into the air and fell upside down into the shrub. He lost his grip on the motorcycle and felt himself brushed by leaves and scratched by twigs until he came to a rest, wedged in the crotch of a small branch. His helmet, here's a picture of it. His helmet had fallen off. His helmet had fallen off. One ear was scratched and he was badly frightened, but he was not injured. When Ralph had caught his breath and his heart no longer pounded against his ribs, he boosted himself up so that he was sitting right in the crotch of a twig. The shrub was not the leafy cushion he had expected. From his perch in the center, he could see that the leaves grew only at the tips of the twigs and that the bush, which had looked soft and springy from the outside, was full of leafless and spiky dead twigs. My motorcycle, Ralph thought frantically. Where is it? And then he saw it, far above his head, hanging from a twig by its back wheel. His helmet, however, had fallen to the ground. Ralph did the only thing he could do. He climbed up to his motorcycle and started chewing. The twig that held the motorcycle had a dry and dusty taste, but Ralph chewed until it snapped and the motorcycle slid down to the crotch of the twig below. Ralph climbed down, and when he could not free the motorcycle with his paws, he started chewing once more. No little cousin was ever going to say to him, "What happened to your motorcycle, Ralph, huh? What happened to your motorcycle?" Ralph chewed his motorcycle from one twig to the next. The lower he went, the thicker the branches got. By the time the motorcycle finally dropped to the ground beside the helmet, Ralph's jaws ached. He dragged the motorcycle across the weedy patch of lawn to the driveway and was about to mount when the door of the hotel unexpectedly opened, and old Matt, in pajamas and a bathrobe, stepped out on the porch and looked around. Well, the little fellow must have managed to get his motorcycle down the steps somehow, Ralph heard Matt mutter to himself. Now maybe I can get to sleep. Well, I guess I showed you, thought Ralph grimly, as he mounted his motorbike and sped off down the open road into the dark, scary night. So long, brothers, sisters, and cousins. So long, Uncle Lester. So long, Matt. Ralph was on his way. Okay, and there's a picture of him taking off into the dark on his motorcycle. So on Monday, we'll figure out if he gets there and what happens, what exciting things happen during his adventure that way. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter to everybody. Stay safe and socially distant. Don't be, out playing with all the neighbors in your, all the friends and neighbors in your neighborhood. That would be what I'm looking for. And make sure that you're staying safe so that we can get better and everyone can get back to school. Love you guys.